I mean, is Cooper Rush worth 2.5 points? I would hope Quinn Ewers put up a decent stat line against Arizona State. If he didn't, we have a real problem.
You can say the same thing about Creighton. Okay, they had the one good game against Kansas at home.
When Toast talks about the kicking market, it's like some earth is flat shit. Andy, true or false, this is going to be a dog walking.
Dog walking. This is my dog walking of the day. I think it's going to be very ugly. Dog walking. I think this is going to be ugly.
Hey, get the sauce. Good morning. Happy Saturday to you all. Hope you all had a nice Friday night. Turn my mic up a little bit. It was a good one for me. I went 2-0 in the NBA. I did lose my only college basketball bet, but I felt like I was personally robbed by the push-off there at the end of the game. That was fun, though. Toast, I don't know if you watched the college experience last night. Me and Trevor were in there trolling about – it was funny. Some funny shit last night late. But, yeah, I felt like I was personally robbed by that non-call last night. Yeah, we got a 15-game MLB slate. Obviously, later on, we got a couple Elite 8 games we're into now. But first, we're going to talk about baseball. First up, we got Brewers, Yankees. John, Max Fried, Yankee debut, Yankee Stadium. How does he handle the Bronx?
I mean, I think he'll be fine. I tend to think of him as a big game pitcher and usually pretty damn good whenever he's on the mound. That's my issue. You know, I have no problem backing Fried when he's up there. But man, if you even asked me over under on games started, I'm worried it's not 15. Like the fair line is, I don't think it's 20. 20 I'm going under. 15 is when I start to scratch my chinny chin. So I think when he's up there, he's been in big games. We've seen him pitch very well against good squads, which I'm not so sure the Brewers are. So we should be in pretty good shape today. I think the Yanks were a little fortunate. Anyone that's not a big baseball fan saw a couple of those Yankee Stadium specials on opening day. Those balls literally don't go out anywhere else. You know?
Yeah. There was a couple of them. Volpe's hit. That was did not look like a home run off the bat. I'll say
it
that.
was not a home run. It should not be a home run. We should take those back. Or like raise the wall, maybe. Like whatever. It's my team, but so it's kind of ridiculous.
The question is, we all know Nestor Cortez can be trusted in Yankee Stadium. Can he be trusted in Yankee Stadium wearing a different uniform, though? Is the question.
Well, this year I'm a hard fade on Nestor. I mentioned it yesterday with Gray. Even though Sonny Gray did he pulled a little bit of a Houdini on us. If you saw the Arsenal breakdown, he didn't throw any fastballs because he was like, I don't know, I can't throw it harder than 90 miles an hour. So I decided to pull back on it. And I mentioned this with you guys the other day. The second I hear PRP injections, I'm out. Run for the hills. Nestor, same thing. He ended the season hurt. They brought him back for that one pitch. He gave up like a 9-run homer, and then he was, back to the shower. So I was never a huge Nestor guy because I don't like that stupid rocking motion. I don't think that should be allowed. Honestly, I just don't think it should be allowed. I think it's ridiculous. I think if you need to do that, I think you should work on pitching instead, right? Like if you need to trick guys with how you're shaking your hips doing the Shakira thing, maybe we need like better pitchers.
Doing the Shakira thing.
Hips don't lie. They don't lie.
Fair enough.
Well, they might be lying today.
So it sounds like, knowing John, he likes Yankees first 5.
Yeah, I definitely have the Yankees first 5. My model has it at 121 fair value, though. And I think it's like minus 160 is what I mean. So, it's tough when you do modeling calculations.
I know.
Because reality doesn't happen on a calculator. The book knows people love the Yankees. People know the public loves the favorites. So you're always going to be taking a little bit on the chin. And I'm just not sure if I'm there. Again, I was telling you guys the other day, I like to let the first 5 or 7 days go before I really start grinding my nub on straight bets just to see what's going on.
Yeah, anyone that models games out knows exactly what you're talking about with that. It's like, I really like the matchup for the over, but the model's saying way under. It's like, I hate when the model doesn't say when I want it to say.
Yeah, no, well, it's funny you mentioned it. That's why I had to build it. Because even as somebody that, dude, I watch all the time, I kind of watch objectively, it's unbiased. It's like having another unbiased big mouth in the room,
Toast, do you think Legaze is being biased here on his Yankees?
No, I don't. And the only reason that I say that I'm not in the same boat as him as far as not liking Nestor as much. It doesn't really bother me, especially because he ended the year last year looking pretty damn solid for these Yankees, regardless of what happened in the playoffs. My issue is that there's just nobody on Milwaukee as far as that can hit left-handed pitching. So I do expect Max Fried to pitch well as well. And then when we get to the bullpens, it's kind of like a coin flip. So I guess you can put Milwaukee up for me just because I don't really love the price for the Yankees at this price. But I won't be getting involved with this game. I'll definitely be watching to enjoy the game. But if there was just something from the Milwaukee side of it, one of these guys that could hit left-handed pitching besides Yelich, then maybe I could just get there. But it's just really hard for me right now.
Yeah, I'll put Milwaukee up too, but I'm not going to bet it. I guess there is a little bit of a question mark here in Nestor Cortez. So let's go ahead and move on to the next game, which is Angels White Sox. Copy and paste what I said on opening day. How are the Angels laying -160 on the road? What planet are we living on? I feel like, we say there's a Yankees tax, there's a Dodgers tax. I feel like there's a reverse White Sox tax where it's just like they're just so hated and nobody wants to bet them that are we even 100% convinced that the Angels and White Sox are going to be similar this year in terms of where they finish in the standings? Like, yes, the White Sox are probably one of the worst, if not the worst teams in baseball. The Angels are what, bottom 4? Like, they're right there too. And for those of you that don't bet baseball often, -165 road favorite is a significant favorite. That's not just like, that's significant. That's like a touchdown favorite in the NFL. So this number's crazy. Copy and paste exactly what I said in the first game. It would only be White Sox here at this price. John, you agree with that?
Yeah, it's White Sox if you had to pick a side. I was surprised the total came out at 4.5 to the F5 because if anything, I think I'm probably to the under here. Soriano's claim to fame, he is a ground ball machine, and that's kind of what the White Sox do best. So we never know what's going to find grass, but I just think scoring is going to be at a premium today. Angels offense, surprise, surprise, they haven't looked good. I know it's only 35 PAs, but they're batting 156 as a team with a 510 OPS. It's a struggle, and I think you really nailed it. I think, right, I was mentioning those biases last time. We automatically marry last year to this year. Doesn't work that way. There's turnover, and you have to let a little bit of dust settle, which is what I was saying before I start really betting. I think when the dust settles, we're going to find the White Sox are way better than they were last year, which, again, is hard not to be. But I think the Angels are pretty bad. I think the Angels are a pretty bad team. And if a guy like Kikuchi, who's pretty good, is not going to get it done for them, they have what it takes to go on really long losing streaks also.
Yeah, agreed. Copy and paste. I agree with everything you said. Me and Toast talked about that on one of the shows about the offseason. Actually, Toast was big on, I think he has a White Sox win total over 51.5 in his pocket.
I like that.
You going back to the well here with Chicago, Toast?
I don't know if I actually bet it, but I agree 100% the same way with you guys. It's just impossible to lay this number with the Angels. Is Soriano better than Cannon? Absolutely. There's no question about that. But at the same time, Soriano, much worse against a whole bunch of right-handed bats compared to left-handed bats. There's only, 2 or 3 left-handed bats in that Chicago lineup. So there is definitely a road to success there for the White Sox. But it would be White Sox or pass. Well, I'm just kind of afraid after opening day, they kind of come back and maybe they're settled in. I don't know. I just have a weird feeling about this one. It would only be White Sox for me, though. I don't know if I actually bet it today, though.
Yeah. Burke from yesterday, I think looking forward is going to, until the market heats up on him. It took a while for Crochet last year. And I don't think he's as good as Garrett Crochet. But Sean Burke is going to be a very popular F5 play for me this year. I can tell you already because of what Sauce was saying. The public is not going to be able to help, but mash against the White Sox, the first thing I'm running an MLB Survivor Pool, that's the first thing people are like, after attacking the White Sox, what should we do? And so it's already kind of ingrained. It's really ingrained to people. So Burke is my guy. I don't know if I feel the same way about Cannon. I think I'm with you. It's White Sox or bust, but I don't know if I could back the Revolutionary War Cannon today.
Next game up is Cardinals Twins. The logos are reversed on the screen. This game's in St. Louis, not Minnesota. Sorry about that. It would only be Twins, but I took a loss with the Twins on opening day. I think the Twins are going to be significantly better than the Cardinals this year. This is the first. I always say that the Cardinals, no matter how bad it looks, they'll find a way to win 85 games. They're just that type of organization.
Devil magic. The devil magic.
I actually think this is the first year where I'm like, the Cardinals might be bad. I don't have that same Cardinals second half of the year hope that I've had in years past. I think the Twins are a significantly better team, but I'm not betting it. Like I said, I just took a loss with the Twins on opening day, so I would think Joe Ryan against Fedde, unless Toast is big on Fedde. He liked him a lot last year, so maybe Fedde at home. Toast, what do you think?
I like Minnesota here, personally. I think they bounce back here today. I think they have multiple advantages. I know that Fedde has been really good, and I've been a really big fan of Fedde. There's no question about that. But he did face this Minnesota team 3 times last year, so they do have a little bit of idea of how to attack him. And I also think that Joe Ryan's posed to continue to pitch really well. I mean, over the last 3 or 4 seasons, he's continually gotten better. He had a little bit of a bad 2023 season, but he followed it up with a really good season last year as well. Another one of those guys like around a 3.5 ERA or what have you. Didn't really finish the year as strong as he started it, but I do think that he has a really good chance to bounce back here today against this St. Louis team that I'm just really not a big fan of. I know that Arenado got himself a home run on opening day and whatnot, but I'm just not really in love with this lineup, especially at the bottom of it with Herrera, Walker, Scott, and Wynn. Because over on the Minnesota side, not only do the top 4 guys I trust with Wallner, Correa, Buxton, and Larnach, even on the bottom with Castro, Miranda, and Christian Vasquez, I trust those guys. Again, it's the second game of the year. I'm just saying that at this price, at a cheaper price, I think that there's a lot of value on Minnesota. I feel like it's going to be a pretty public play, but I don't know if it's going to matter here, especially with the bullpen advantage. Everybody had the day off yesterday, so Minnesota's going to have Duran, Jackson, Sands all ready to go. So I just think that's too much of an advantage. So it'll be Minnesota for me.
I got to say, I think the price is a little minus 125 now. I think we might be leaning a little hard towards Minnesota there.
It's dropped to minus 115 now. So.
Oh, that's a little more in the range of playable. And Apollo, who is a friend of the program from this area, I don't know if he's from St. Louis exactly, but he's somewhere right there. He says, I'm from St. Louis. We win easy today. Keep hating. And he did have a Cardinals bet on opening day. He was flexing it, so give him credit. He backed his cards on opening day. He's going back to the well. John, what are your thoughts on this one?
No, this one I'm firmly on the Twins, especially with the price moving from 130 to minus 115, like Toast said. You know, I would love to hear the bull case for Fetty Wap. I've never been a huge fan. I know last year you kind of got the output, 3.3 ERA, 116 whip. However, you know, single-digit swinging strike, 25 CSW. And the thing that really stands out to me, the 39 ball rate, 29 chase, 88 zone contact, right? I kind of build that disciplinary tapestry. Very difficult for a guy who legitimately has one of the worst fastballs in the major leagues. He has a 76 stuff plus on the 4-seamer, and it sits 92.5. Very hittable. You could run a 39% ball rate into the input machine 100 times. You're not going to get that 7% walk maybe more than 5 times. You know, the other pitchers that miss the zone 39% of the time, those are all your double-digit walk rates. Those are your 12, 13, 14% walk rates. The reason I mention that, if he's going to fail to get behind and lacks that put-away 4-seamer, I think this is the wrong team to mess with. I know Minnesota kind of disappointed, again, why I like to let some of the dust settle, but no, I may actually make this my first, you know, kind of recorded straight bet on my stack today, because Joey Ryan is like an order of magnitude better than Fetty Wap. So first names or not, I'm going to go with Joey Ryan. Let's go.
I actually like it a lot more. Now, both of you guys like it? Maybe I go back to the Twins. Well,
I will be betting Minnesota. I just can kind of wait, and I obviously I've only been up for 45 minutes, so yeah.
Let's talk Baltimore, Toronto, and another one where I know where I want to be, but the price, we're up to minus 130 now. John, are you a believer in Max Scherzer at this age?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, I was writing him up in the offseason, and the only concern with Scherzer should be injury concerns. And again, when betting, right, we're with the smallest sample, as long as he's healthy today, he's really never been bad. right? He's never been bad. And, he looked incredible during the spring, like vintage Max. I was actually really surprised that I saw, minus 130, minus 125 on the F5. I've got them modeled pretty solidly ahead against Dean Crispy Creamer. And Vlad Guerrero is the BVP stand that I know. God, I've never really quoted this stuff, but this early in the season, it's like you're either going to quote a 25 plate appearance team sample or that, and Guerrero has killed him 10 for 26, 2 doubles, and 5 home runs. 5 home runs, like a 1,600 OPS. Again, Creamer is, listen, he's very kind of run-of-the-mill. And another reason why Baltimore, I know Burns was saying he was dying to pitch in Arizona. I would have just kept adding another comma to the paycheck to keep him, because the rest of this division is falling apart. And Baltimore is already showing that they need a real impact pitcher. It might be Cade Povich to step up, but again, that kind of guy. You listen. We love Cade Povich, man. He's going to be good, but we want him as a 3 or a 4 on a competitive team.
Agreed.
Right? Maybe a 4, even a 5. Not like he's probably their second best pitcher. So, yeah, I really like Toronto through 5. The bats kind of woke up a little bit. I had modeled the over yesterday. I was kicking myself because I didn't bet it really.
I added that late after the show. I was like, you know what? If I don't bet this, I'm going to be pissed off. So I actually had to send it into sauce.
Yeah, the pitching in that was awful. Uncle Chuck is terrible. He's a little long in the tooth. Yeah, again, that's going to be an issue. I guess, we're back to like the golden days of betting the overs in the AL East, because the pitching is just not there.
The toast, what he said about Scherzer is almost word for word what you said about Scherzer last night on the midnight show.
That's why I was laughing.
He said almost the same thing about how, like, as long as he's healthy, you trust him. He's never been bad. Like, word for word what you said on the midnight show last night. You guys have the same.
We're simpatico, guys. I love this, man. I felt like my new besties. I have my new internet besties here.
Yeah, I love it. I was telling everybody I can't wait to have another show with John.
Yeah, no shit, man. It's funny. I'm like, I actually look forward to working with somebody. Yeah. Again, in this industry full of criminal fucking degenerates.
Oh, dude, yeah,
very difficult.
It's not only that; it's people that can take a joke. Like if I were to, what I'm saying.
Well, and we disagree also. There's a lot of like glad handing and auto glazing.
I hate that.
And we disagree a lot, which is actually really great because and you guys bring a lot of rational counters, nose in the spreadsheet like myself. All right, no, it's not.
I can't wait. It's even better as we get going on, like when the spreadsheets populate and stuff. Because, like you just said a few minutes ago, it's kind of hard to make a case after everything last year. You're trying to like put together certain little.
I had people begging me all morning, "Where's the split hitter data?" And I'm like, dude, I didn't put it up because I don't want to mislead you. It's not like I'm lazy and I don't like putting it up. But guys, you got to pump the brakes a little bit on. What are we really going to say? Like a team hasn't hit lefties? It's been. It's been 6 at bats. You know what I'm saying?
I wait until like 3 weeks in before we start giving ours out.
Yeah, there you go. You guys are starting to get it. And again, if anyone is wondering, there's a reason for that. I don't know if you're as nerdy as I am because I do write at The Athletic with the Geek Squad over there. But you find that's when a lot of the disciplinary metrics start to stabilize. So you can actually begin to rely on that. And I think it's part of why DraftKings is not posting their under hitter strikeouts. I don't know if you saw that. They posted them last year. I drew up a quick model and we broke their fucking back. They had to pull it down. We had a few of us, dude, it was literally like a joke. It was like a joke lottery parlay. A few of us turned $1 into $12K on them. We hit 10. We hit 10.
That's awesome.
10 under hitter strikeouts. The next day they were down and they haven't come back up, you know. It was that reason. The book was posting these wide or last year's 3-year average kind of disciplinary baskets where the sine wave for those stats are a lot tighter. And it's not to say you could start believing in it, but a guy like Brandon Lowe is always a strikeout machine. If he goes 200 at bats where he's not striking out, you start to bet on him and under strikeout. If it's it'd be like plus 210 for him to not strike out in a game, which is pretty wild, you know?
Yeah, they do their best to keep up with it, but you can find those opportunities.
Small edges, right? It's about those small edges.
Those small edges.
I did do Toronto first 5 run line at plus 100 in this one, just backing Max Scherzer, just so everybody knows.
Oh man, I don't hate dragging on, but we're just kicking it together. I find the first 5 run line on the favorite side is really stressful, like needing that run. is so stressful. So just do you have like is it a cost thing? Like if it's 30 cents or less, 30 cents or more?
Usually, I've had a lot of success debating people on if you should take a run or lay a half a run, take a half a run type of situation a lot. I firmly stand tall on never take a half a run in the first 5. I don't think you're ever going to need it over the course.
I do it all the time. Funny.
Huh?
I like it. I like it too.
We cash a ton of ties.
Yeah, he hates it. I know. Me and Toast have this argument once a week.
I firmly believe that if you took your last 25 times you took a half a run, you'd only use that half a run less than 12. And the amount of times that you would cash instead of get with that plus money, because sometimes you're paying almost 30, 35 cents
I hear you
for that half a run.
I hear you barking, dog. I do. I hear you. You know what it is?
Again, it's more of a
teams that I back with that. It's the shitty Marlins. It's the shitty White Sox. And it becomes like unfathomable they're even going to score a run. But you're right. I'm not really arguing your point because the math is solid.
And also, I mean, it screwed me last night. I had Padres' first 5 run line. Dylan Cease gives up a homer, and I lose that one. It's like one of my only losers.
Well, Tigers was a good one. Tigers, if you were like me and you were a conservative cuck lord, and you took the half run, you didn't need it. Now they turned around. I think they botched it in the 6th, right? I think they blew it in the 6th, but too late, too fucking late. You already cashed that bitch, and you're on the way home. So that's a perfect example. And that was like 45 cents or something.
I was gonna say sometimes that's the thing that I want people pay attention to more than anything is the actual price, not just taking a half run because I'm safe. Just make sure you're looking at the price. That
almost deserves the horn, yo.
John's got to be the first.
That deserves the horn, yo. You get the horn. You get the. That's it. You know that's how we roll, man.
That deserves the horn.
It does.
Dom is got to be the first person ever to refer to himself as a conservative cuck on the show.
You got to take your L for love. L for love. You got to take those. You got to take those L's, man. Especially betting baseball. Imagine being such a fucking fraud or so like insecure that you're not going to take L's in a baseball season. Yo, I'm going to make like 2,500 bets this year. Yeah. You know what I mean? Get out in front of it. If you make mistakes, you try and understand why. You self-audit, see if you can correct it in a back test, and you can move forward. You know, which again, Toast, you're on it, dude. I'm gonna try and calculate that number if I can because
we have that argument once a week. So if I think the answer is going to be somewhere in the middle. Sometimes that half run is overpriced, and other times it's not. I think usually when there's a debate like that, the answer is somewhere in the middle. It depends on the price in the particular matchup. But anyway,
30 is that midpoint, right? Like 20, you're interested.
Well, I'm sure the game total also plays into it. Is it a total 6.5 or is it 9.5?
Oh, very interesting. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense.
More likely to see a tie in a 6.5 total game. And
all right, now that I totally derailed.
I mean,
I tend to do that.
We're good on time though. The games don't start till 1. So, but anyway, let's talk Phillies Nats. And Toast is big on the Phillies here. He was talking about it last night, and I'm surprised because I thought Phillies were the play on opening day, and Toast liked Mackenzie Gore, which turned out to be relatively correct. I mean, they didn't win, but
wow, he was fucking brilliant.
He was great. He was excellent. I think this is more. I don't know. Irvin made me a believer last year, so I kind of am an Irvin guy, and I can't unsee. We can't pretend like we didn't see a large part of the season. Maybe not a large part of the season, but there were big chunks where the Phillies could not hit in pitching. Remember, was when Trey Turner was cold, and there was there were sections where like
a good month long.
Yeah, where the Phillies were one of the worst. So it's not like the idea of the Phillies getting blanked by a righty is crazy. We actually saw it a decent amount last year. So I kind of am leaning towards an under here. But go ahead, Toast. You like the Phillies?
I like the Phillies at what I got it at last night. I got the Phillies at -144. That was like the one play that I wanted to send out last night. So I did send this out. Phillies -144 on the money line. Phillies team total over 4.5. I think that, like I said yesterday, I feel like I trust this Phillies offense. I think that they're one of the more hungry teams in Major League Baseball right now after coming, obviously, going to the World Series and then getting worse after the few years. I think that some people have wrote this team off. Excuse me. I'm not one of them. I think that I think John would agree as well. When Luzardo's healthy, you don't have to worry about him. It's just when he starts to get injured, that's when you really have to start worrying about Jesus Luzardo. But as we saw, though, his last 7 starts of the season last year, he had 1 bad start at home against Tampa Bay, but his 3 road starts were pretty decent against the Padres, the Mets, and these Nationals. All went 6 innings or more, or 5 innings, 5.5 innings or more. 2 runs or less. I mean, really good. He looked really good his last 2 times up in Washington, but more or less, this is more of a fade of 1, what the Nationals did on opening day, and 2, the fact that not only as Jake Irvin was a really like one of our sweet princes to start the year, really started to fall off later on in the year, especially those over his last 7 starts. Over his last 7 starts, I think he only had 1 or 2 good starts. One of them was the Mets, so that was impressive. But besides that, he was getting absolutely shelled. And on top of that, he's never pitched well against Philadelphia in his career. His last 4 starts against Philadelphia, I think the total of just over 20 innings. He's given up almost 18 or 19 runs as well. He's not striking guys out either. So I just think this is a really prime spot for the Philly offense. I thought that 144, 145 number was egregious. Now it's up into those 160s, which, again, I would still play them. If you want to play them -1.5, that's fine for a little bit of less. But I do have a full unit on the Phillies today.
John, what are your thoughts on Toast being big on the Phillies today?
No, I'm with him. You don't fuck with the Jesus today, man. Don't fuck with the Jesus. I think there's a couple moving pieces here, right? So it's a healthy and excelling Luzardo, right? So he's looking really good. He's got the velo up. He's looking strong. As much as I like the Nats right, because if you bet F5s and you like F5 team totals, we're looking for scrappy kind of offenses. My beef with them this year, the Nacionals, is they're really left-handed, right? Like the skill players, the guys that we need, if you're back in the Nationals, that is, right? It's Abrams, it's Wood, it's Lowe, it's even Garcia. Those are all lefties. And I think
could switch.
Yeah, I think the Jesus Lizard is probably going to shove him around. As far as Swerve and Irvin goes, I was never really buying it. In particular, this year, Philly's actually in this very, 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 very small sample. They have hit righties out of the box well, which we're hoping for. There's some BVP stuff where Real Muto has beat up on Irvin before. Trey Turner has beat up on Irvin before, and he's really a pitch to contact guy. I think you need swing and miss ability to beat this Phillies team. When they're healthy, man to man, they're really good. Like up and down, they're really good. So it's a little bit juiced. Again, by the model, which I mentioned at the Open, I don't think you're going to get, like, I've got -118 or something like that, and it's -140. I got, -160. It's a rough lay, but I think you get it.
Damn, I'd go under or pass. I think Irvin could pitch well, personally, but
I don't mind an under 9. I don't think that the Phillies are going to just absolutely throttle him. Especially, I think that number is going to be 8.5 within the next 45 minutes or so. So,
Gavin,
you're not worried about the Nats bullpen. I'm always maybe I'm too far in the weeds because this is part of me knowing myself. This is part of why I kind of
no, you're not in the weeds because I thought the same thing. Not to mention the fact they already saw Finnegan for 20 plus pitches. They saw Ferrier, or however you pronounce his name, for 35 pitches,
and he's the good one.
Yeah, I was going to say, the more I looked, I just felt like there was advantage Philadelphia everywhere I looked.
Nats bullpen right now, for you sports fans out there, 13.5 ERA, 3.25 WHIP. That's only 4 innings, but if you're giving up whatever that is, 7 runs, and you put it on, 12 base runners in just a handful of innings. We mentioned this at the outset, the first time we hooked up, guys, that there's a very ugly underbelly to this Nationals bullpen. That if you're backing them, I think you want to back them at 5. Because again, if you like Swerve and Irvin to get you through 5, that'd be fine. It's the last 4 innings where you're going to lose me.
The 3.25 WHIP is crazy. 4 innings.
Even in a small sample is crazy. Right?
Extremely small sample, but 3.25 WHIP is wild. Cleveland, Kansas City, and I thought. We talked about this last night on the Midnight Show. I thought we were going to wake up and see this price at -140, -145. It seems to be moving the other way. Do people still like this Cleveland team? I'm out on Cleveland, man. Cleveland might not be 500 this year.
That's bold.
I thought they overachieved last year. I think Naylor did more for that team than maybe was given credit because he kind of fell off at the end. So he fell off at the end of the season, and Cleveland had this excellent record, and then when we got into the postseason and then like more eyes were on the team, Naylor wasn't doing much. So people kind of forgot that the reason they won a lot of those games was Naylor from April, May, June. I think Naylor was a more important piece of the lineup than he's being given credit for. He was on my fantasy team. Dude was a monster for 3/4 of the season. I think Cleveland might win 80 to 85 games max. So Kansas City, Lugo. I'll take Lugo over Gavin Williams. The lineups are close. Maybe, yeah, you got to give the better bullpen to Cleveland, but I'm get the better starter here at home, -120. That's a play. John, you with me?
It's yes and no, because I'm on the under, so I'm partially there. Like I'm not too hot on the Cleveland offense. Maybe I'm a little bit higher on Williams than you. Former first round pick. I think this is the year he fulfills the prophecy, battling with injuries. He had a ridiculous spring. I mean, like a ridiculous spring. 17 and a third, sub-1 whip, 38% K to sub-6 walk, half a homer 9, keeping it down. Royals offense is good, but not great. I have them both modeled to 2 runs, but it's like 2 flat, right? So when I'm modeled to 2 flat, the first thing I check for is an F5U 4.5. I mentioned trying to maybe getting off my cuck horse to bet the Twins. I may get in on, if I do go straight bets today, it's the under on the F5 here also. The Cleveland, Kansas City, because it's 4.5 though. I make the mistake sometimes when you have an effective model that sharp people play with, they tend to push lines down sometimes. So like usually when I post for subs, just transparency, I usually post for them first and then put shit out to the public, because again, you never know who's in there. Right. You know, it wasn't like last year I was running my show. I had this guy asking these really complex questions, and I was like, dude, you sound like a bookmaker. And it was a guy I used to work at Circa, and now I work here. And I was like, oh shit. So, yeah, but while this one's at 4.5, I like the under.
Yeah, I feel like if you've blindly taken the under in AL Central games the last 5 years, you probably brought another property off of it.
Yeah, you got the Vegas Dave pink handbag going.
Yep, you got some beachfront property somewhere. Toast. Well, I know Toast agrees with your take on Gavin Williams. He's big on Gavin Williams. I don't know why, but he's big on him.
Because he looked really, really good in 2023, and then last year, I think that
he pitched like 6 games in 2020.
Can I finish?
Go ahead. You want to spew some bullshit? Go ahead.
That
looked really good for 5 minutes in 2020.
That's awesome. I think a lot of people look at
16 games started.
I was going to say, I think that a lot of people look at like the win-loss record for him and see that his team, they didn't really win when he pitched, and he's really not that good. But if you really go look, I mean, he had last year he had a 4.86 ERA, but if you go look, not that ERA is the end-all be-all, but I just like to use it because everybody understands what that is. Like, he had a couple blow-up games for sure, but a lot of the times that he was on the mound, he gave you consistent good 5-6 innings of 2-3 run baseball at max, and that's really all you can ask. I mean, look at his last 7 starts last year. On the road at Yankee Stadium, 3 runs. On the road at the Dodgers, 5 runs. But besides that, it's all 5 innings or more against teams like St. Louis, Minnesota, Kansas City, these Kansas City teams. So, again, I don't have a reason to believe that Gavin Williams is in line for another decent season this year. Again, I think he only gets better, not to mention the fact that he's always pitched well against this Kansas City team. And then on the flip side of it, there was Seth Lugo. It's the same situation. I mean, he's been an absolute stud for 3 years now. I said as soon as the Padres let him go that we were going to let that was going to be a huge mistake. And look at what he did last year. Almost a Cy Young winner, all-star, ERA almost under 3 essentially. He's an absolute stud. He faced this Cleveland team 3 times. He got whooped up the first time and then came back and gave him 13 innings of 1-run baseball and 14 strikeouts. So it'd be under for me. It's almost impossible for me to pick a side in this one. I think it's a true coin flip, especially with both these teams having the day off yesterday. And on top of that is like, usually you can be like, oh, team A or team B used all these bullpen pieces. Even with the day off, they've seen them. That's the case, but for both teams, everybody's seen everybody's fastball in the bullpen. So it's under a pass for me.
Do you guys mess with pitcher props at all? Because I think there's not hot and cold. I think
I know a lot of people that do. I love sides and totals, more or less sides. Like that's just where my favorite thing is.
I think there's a great argument to be made for the Lugo over outs today, right? He pitches to contact. The guards just refuse to strike out. They're very aggressive in the zone, and they're ground ball machines. Lugo also, he has a history of going deep, but that's why last year he was one of the few pitchers to average more than 18 outs a game. He averaged almost 19 outs a game, 18.7 outs per game. That line is 16 and a half outs minus 115 today. And the Guardians are doing Guardian things. Again, not striking out. I think they have like a 56% ground ball rate already. But it plays into the kind of archetype that they are. So sometimes when I get caught with that, I've been opening up my purview just a little bit to pitcher props. K props are so juiced, I normally don't bother. But out props, you get them at minus 110, minus 115, which is not bad.
We are now moving on to Giants Reds, and John Toast last night was talking about he tends to trust Justin Verlander early in the season. I would argue trusting him early in the season and trusting him in Great American earlier in the season is a little bit different. A lot of people are big on Nick Lodolo. I don't know. I feel like you could make a case for either side, and you could also make a case for an over and an under. I feel like this game could go dozens of different ways. What do you personally like in this one, Giants Reds?
I think you really nailed the main thing is the hitting environment is so unusual. People, casuals are even starting to catch up to this, that Great American Small Park is a fucking pinball machine. And that kills totals, because if you like the pitching, which I think I do, and you leaning towards an under, I'm not trying to go. I think I'd go under in Coors before I go under in Cincinnati right now, because every fly ball just kind of finds the seats. I don't know about Verlander, man. Again, even if you like him, it's hard to push up against it. He kind of checks the Max Scherzer box, where he's really never been bad. I guess last year he kind of sucked a little bit. I don't know. I'd probably just pass in this one, because Lodolo is another one too. We've seen such highs and lows from him on a per game basis. Lodolo's got some fucking filth when he's on, and then we've seen him be terrible as well. So, again, you want to lean under, you shouldn't be doing it in Cincinnati. I'm off this one.
I think Toast last night said Reds or pass. It didn't sound like he was very big on it.
Yeah, it would. This is just a straight pass in general. I mean, honestly, if I had, I guess, gun to my head, I would take the Giants, just because I don't feel like Justin Verlander and Nick Lodolo are that separate this early in the season, personally. Not to mention the fact that I do think that the Giants have a little bit of a bullpen advantage as well. Not in love with that Cincinnati bullpen. I do think Cincinnati's going to be good, but I think that they're going to take a little bit of time. Again, this is just a really hard game for me. It's an odd. It's just watch and see. Honestly, I won't be betting it, but you can put Giants up if you really want to for me.
I thought you said Reds or pass.
I know, I've been flip-flopping. That's what I'm saying. It's just really hard for me, because I really like Lodolo as well. But at the same time, if I only get 4-5 innings out of Lodolo, and then I'm asked for the Cincinnati Reds team, or the Reds, if I get Sam Molrat in there and Graham Ashcraft and they give up a few runs, I'm going to be pretty pissed off. So
yeah, Jabot gave up that game in no time.
Yeah,
before the fantasy crowd even had a chance to overreact. It's not Ashcraft. What do we do? Oh, maybe he'll be good. Maybe he'll be good. It was over. It was over. Also, quick note, Giants, again, picking up where they left off with these strikeouts, man. Totally an issue. One of the few things, right, we're talking about discipline, stabilizing more quickly than other things. The Giants have a 49% team strikeout rate right now. How is that even a thing?
49%.
Half the batters have struck out so far. And I know it's only a game or two, but that's never good.
Toast hates that one guy on the Giants. Yes, it's my guy. I like him. Toast hates him.
Well, he sucks. That's
he does not suck. See, Toast, not everything can be broken down to a spreadsheet. Some people have gamesmanship.
Oh, okay.
I like Ramos. Ramos is an interesting piece.
Yeah, because he's pretty good. That's why he's playing and not sitting on the bench like Yastrzemski.
Yeah, I've never been a Yastrzemski guy either.
You guys just don't get it.
He's played with he gets playing time when there's opportunity, when there's no one else left. He'll get some run.
No, it's about
he doesn't hit the ball loud.
He's not racking up stats, but he's the type of guy if the Giants are down a run, 2 men on, and they need a pinch hitter, I trust he's going to get the hit. The intangibles.
Yeah.
Rockies, Rays, of course. Rockies money line. My boy Sensatella, he's a gamesman. He's a predator, absolute predator out there. He strikes when you least expect it. Sensatella's been around a while. By no means have I said would I say his performances have been effective, but every once in a while he strikes. So I'm just putting Rockies up. I'm not betting the game. I think Toast didn't really have much interest in it either. Toast, did you say under or pass? I forget what you said last night.
It'd be under or Rockies or pass. I'm actually getting to the point where I might bet the Rockies. I didn't really. I think I was pretty kind of sold on what I saw yesterday, and as far as from Tampa Bay, like I didn't really see much. They had one good inning, and is there no question for me that Littell is better than Sensatella? Absolutely, there's no question. But at the same time, Sensatella is a solid veteran starter that I would trust earlier in the season. And you're getting him against the Tampa Bay lineup that now without to be Josh Lau out, that just makes it even more one less guy that I have to worry about. And that bottom of that lineup gets pretty damn bad with Aranda, Jansen, DeLuca, and Walls. So at minus 185, I just feel like that's an absolute crazy price to play with this Rays team. I thought they got a little bit lucky the other day. We'll see what happens, but there's a very good chance I probably place a bet on the Rockies here within the next 45 minutes.
John, are we sweeping the Rockies here?
No, I can't do it. I have a family. Hey, but you can tell me. I think maybe nature corrects and maybe we get the over. Maybe we get an over today.
Fair. I can see that.
The Rays are super streaky. Even like the guys you named that suck, they do kind of suck, but they're also incredibly streaky. Sensatella really is bad. He's not any good. No. But Freeland shoved them so bad yesterday. I thought the Rays were going to score yesterday. And again, that's going to be part of betting the Rays all season because I was just looking at it. They're already, again, small samples aside, you don't really want to be an outlier, right? They're already outlying already. They're the most aggressive team in terms of swing rate. They're taking the least amount of walks. They're also chasing the most. Now, so that's where I think maybe we get the over because Sensatella doesn't induce chases where Freeland has been known to get you to bite outside the zone. Sensatella has to win in zone, so I think he gets mashed a little bit. Again, little's okay. The Rockies' offense is fucking this is so bad. This game's so bad. Yeah, like you should really save your sanity and not bet on this.
He goes, I can't.
If I had to be the game over, it's 8, right? It was a flat 8.
Yeah, that's what it says here.
It was 8.5. It's down to 8 now. Yeah.
Yeah, a flat 8. You'll get me 8.5. I'd rather drink a protein shake with powdered glass in it. Let's say.
It's like I can't. I have a family. I can't.
And they love me for some reason, man. They need me.
So Toast, for those of you, the first midnight show we did on opening day, I was openly making fun of Toast for betting the Marlins against Skeens. I said some insulting things. He got the last laugh there.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. John did too. John was like, "Your sharpness should be called into question."
But the F5 was not a winner. The F5 was not a winner.
Not a winner.
Well, I mean, it took an absolute miracle for everybody in the world to get their Skeens first 5. So congratulations.
Dane Myers home run was there a Dane Myers home run? Like that might have been on the news,
Yeah. Facts.
So John, you got anything for us here? Falter against Beoso?
Oh, hold on. Valente Belozzo. You gotta love that. No. Again, I got runs being scored. I was surprised. You could tell the books hate these offenses with good reason. But I have runs being scored because again, neither one of these guys are any good. Neither, they suck, and I know. Oh man, they're just both so bad. Like Falter 4.9 expected ERA last year. Belozzo not to be outdone 5.3. Both had a 17% K or less, 8.5 swinging strike or less, 25 CSW or less. They're both in the zone. They both give up tons of fly balls. Like you could see where this goes really poorly. Neither have distance or good bullpens behind them. Yeah, again, if I'd probably be on the over, which I liked it yesterday. They didn't quite get there. But the opportunities were there, but also, that and $2 get you on the fucking bus around here. So, yeah, it's just a lot of, really uninspiring matchups right now.
I'm pretty sure, I don't ask me why, I'm pretty sure Toast kind of likes Bailey Falter. I know. I don't get it either. He must not have watched his days in Philadelphia, honestly. But Toast he's terrible, but Toast kind of likes him.
In context, in this matchup, yes, I don't think that he's going to be winning a Cy Young or anything.
You're going to pretend like you haven't spoke positively about Bailey Falter on this show.
I'm going to keep going. I think that a lot of people see what he did in 2023 and then consider to think that he's a really bad pitcher. But
because he is,
I think that we have a lot of data that can send him at least a little bit better than average. And when he's on, he can look really good. So I'm just not in a position where I feel like Miami should be getting this much respect. That's all. I mean, this is essentially a pick'em game here. I just think that the top three of Pham, Reynolds, and O'Neal Cruz are so much significantly better than any 1, 2, 3 that Miami has that I just don't understand this price. So I'm not going to end up betting this, but like I said yesterday, I got a few messages. I would continue to play the Pirates first 5 on the run line. We did it with Mitch Keller as well. I would do it with Bailey Falter as well. I don't trust anybody in this Miami lineup to hit left-handed pitching at all. And again, is Bailey Falter one of the best lefties in the league? No. But at the same time, I do think that he should have success against this Fish team. So he faced this Fish team twice last year. He had one really good one and one really bad one. But now that this Fish team doesn't really have what the pieces that they had last year, they're relying on a lot of names like Conine, Fortes, Sanjo, Otto Lopez, Eric Wagaman. I'm not really, it's just really, really bad. So I would continue to fade Miami as much as possible and not really look back on it.
See, I like the cruise bases if anyone's into that. Again,
that's what I did yesterday. I was thinking about going back to the well.
Yeah, you should. I think Belotto talk about like he really struggles at times. It's really bad. And Cruz nuked him. Cruz absolutely nuked him the last time they faced. He's got a dong, and it's only 3 PAs, but he hit a monster shot. And when Cruz is locked in, healthy, and like running hot, like seeing the ball well, you could run him for a week or 2 straight. He'll get you those 2 bases. So, you know what I mean? And plus, you get plus money odds. I like that better than having it back in any of these teams.
I put the Marlins up.
I'm a big fan of the hits, runs, and RBIs, and so when I see him,
that's a good one too, man.
Yeah,
that's a good one too.
Minus 150 for that though. So,
it's heavy, but it's there.
It is heavy. I will say though, if you guys are just really quickly, if you guys do those hits, runs, and RBIs, and you see him too much, you can always play runs scored. Run scored's about minus 120, and if there's minus 150, that probably be a good chance that he scores a run. So
I put the Marlins up. We're polling at 70%. Pirates. Everyone's betting. The whole world's betting Pittsburgh here. We're talking about Bailey Falter as a road favorite. I wouldn't lay minus 120 with Bailey Falter on the road against the Portland Sea Dogs. That's a joke. Bailey Falter sucks, and Toast has this weird thing for him.
No, I just don't think that he's as bad as everybody makes him out to be.
Well, he is. But all right, next game. Red Sox.
That was great.
It's a
relative suck.
John, they like to take shots at the king. You know what I'm saying? Heavy is the crown.
Yeah, listen, in this thing of ours, man, you end up having to, choose between shit sandwich and the douche or whatever it is.
Oh, trust me, they get me on a lot. They can get me a lot. I say a lot of things.
Toast, I'm pretty
Yeah, I actually had a time. The cruise bases are even money. Yeah, that's where you could put me cruise bases even money. I like that one. More than I like having it back either one
Boston
of these
first 5 in this one, by the way.
Yes.
Walker Buehler, right?
Yep.
It looks good.
All right. I'm going to go get the odds on that. Did you
plus
actually bet plus 105?
Yes.
All right.
Yes. This was just kind of simple for me. I know that Male is one of these guys that's actually a kind of a respected starter in this league. My issue is he hasn't essentially done anything in almost 3 years. So 2024, 2023, I think a total of less than 40 total innings, obviously. And then in 2022, he really wasn't that good either. So I just think it's a lot to ask against this Boston lineup that we know can be pretty damn good. And it's really hasn't really got going yet. I know that Abreu kind of got going yesterday. I know Bregman got a hit yesterday. I also don't feel like you're going to continue to see Rafi Devers strike out every single at bat. I think that's part of it as well. And then you Walker Buehler, who obviously didn't really look good last year, but started to come on strong towards the end of the year. Obviously, we know what he did in the postseason for the Dodgers. And I think that he's finally healthy and playing well now, or pitching well now. We saw him in the spring look decent. He actually has decent history against this Rangers lineup, but I just felt like getting plus money with the Red Sox team that I feel like is at least comparable offensively as the Rangers. And then we have a starting pitcher advantage, in my opinion, with Walker Buehler. I just couldn't pass up the plus money. So I didn't want to deal with the bullpens. I think both of these bullpens can be kind of fugazi at times. So Boston first 5 on the money line for me.
John, do you agree?
He kind of sold me there. I like that because I hate to rely too much on the eye test. But listen, we've seen Buehler be great, right? So it's not like I watched 10 innings and said, oh, man, this guy who's always been terrible. He finally looked like the pitcher we saw in the 18 or 2019. He looks brilliant, right? He's in that honeymoon phase from Tommy John I was mentioning. Yep. He's throwing gas. The only thing I would disagree with is I am getting worried about Devers. I am getting worried. I'm worried the shoulder.
Wait, I think it's a little early to say some shit like that.
Well, because
it's more the injury thing. You know what it was? Yeah. Because the manager said even if third base was open, he would not be playing the field. And that was the red flag for me. Wait, why? What? Yeah. You signed him to fucking 11 years or whatever. He's not old. What? To me, that was the red flag. Oh, yeah. I didn't mean to. If I framed it like I was worried about a couple strikeouts, I'm not. I don't give a shit.
No, I get what you're saying. Well, I know he didn't play most of the spring, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you know, to man your position, a lifetime position. Again, this is not like a Schwarber or a Soler, a guy that has no business playing defense. You know, Rafi Devers is a major league caliber third baseman, and if they didn't get Bregman, the assumption was that he's the everyday third baseman. So just hearing that he would not be playing defense makes me worried. Maybe there's something wrong with the shoulder. And man, he whiffed on a dead center change yesterday that like halfway as that pitch was at home, I was like, oh, slump over. And he looked slow to it. So I hope he proves me wrong because I kind of like Devers even as a Yankee guy. But yeah, I'm watching Buehler today. I like Buehler at 5 for sure. I do.
All right, I'll put up Red Sox first 5. I'll put up Texas for me. Tyler Mahle at home, man. But I'm not betting this. Next up, yeah, Tyler Mahle used to pitch well at Great American that was his home. This is 2017. This is a smash. Toast is on it here. Shvelly. No brainer.
My boy.
Oh, it's all of our boy. We all. I will give Kyle credit. Kyle gets credit first. He was on the Schwelly train. I'd probably be before anybody, but I got on really early, and I've been loving my ride.
This guy's got something special. It's a no-brainer here. Schvelli. It sounds like all three of us like the Braves. Schvelli up. Toast, you're on it.
I think this is a very good spot for the Braves. I do want to come out and say, and John's probably going to laugh at me, but I think that Randy Vasquez is much better than people give him credit for. So,
former Yankee Randy Vasquez?
Former Yankee that actually pitched pretty damn well down the stretch last year.
Former piece of shit, team. Current piece of shit, Randy Vasquez.
Everybody wants to try to shit on Randy, but here he is. Good. I mean, he's not bad. He's not bad. In 2023, he had a 2.7 ERA, 2024, 4.87. Yes, that's bad. But you look at his last 7 starts. He had 1 bad start on the road at Baltimore and on the road at Tampa Bay. But besides that, 6 innings, no runs against Arizona, 6 innings, 2 runs against Cincinnati or Pittsburgh. Colorado shut them down, shut down the Nationals. Pitched against this Braves team, went 5 innings, only gave up 2 runs in Atlanta and at home. So, again, this isn't me trying to make a case that Randy Vasquez is bad. Everybody else on this panel is going to try to do that. Don't believe him. He's a lot better than you think. The issue is that Spencer Schwellenbach is not only probably one of the best pitchers on his team, and I know that Chris Sale is there, but I think that he's probably one of the best pitchers in the National League that a lot of people don't really know who he is yet. And they're going to find out very soon. So the way that he ended the year last year, he was absolutely fantastic. And he was facing really good teams too, on the road at Minnesota, on the road at Philly, on the road in Cincinnati, against the Mets twice, against the Dodgers, against the Blue Jays. He's been not only battle tested, but he's also performed at the very, very high level. Obviously, we've seen the Padres win the first 2 games of this series. That was huge for them. But then you take a look at here we are, finally a 3-game series with no days off. the bullpen for the Padres is screwed. I've been waiting to do these for a long time. You guys know that I love bullpens and stuff. The Padres bullpen screwed. Suarez, Adams, Estrada, all back-to-back days. My sweet prince, Adrian Morejon, went 23 pitches yesterday. He might be available, but I don't
be
think
available.
I don't know. I think they're going to try to save him. But regardless, you're going to see a lot of Matsui, Jacob Peralta, and Omar Cruz today. If and when Randy
It might be a
Vasquez
spot to
gets
lay
into
the 1.5,
trouble.
honestly.
Yeah, I was going to say this should be. I honestly think the Braves might kill the Padres today, personally. So Braves, no question. Braves on the money line for me. Braves minus 1.5. However you like it.
Yeah, I'm going to bet this. Braves minus 1.5. John, you're with us?
Well, one, I want to say super sharp Toast, the way you go after the bullpens, right? Because you kind of get this. There, not you, but I'm saying there are square takes of the Padres bullpen has looked fantastic. Yes, so far, but that's the thing about bullpens is there's usage and you hardly get the 3 days in a row. So there, I'm not going to call out the person, but I heard that this morning. They have been brilliant so far through 11 bullpen innings or whatever, but you're not getting that iteration. Now, as someone holding a 50-1 Schwellenbach to lead the league in wins this year, there wasn't there wasn't a lot to add because you did a great job. So I don't want to.
Oh, you're good.
I don't want to repeat on him. But one thing that you don't hear a lot of from him is because people lose sight of what happened in the minor leagues. I think it's hard to calculate all this stuff to find like a good source. I think he threw more innings than anybody in professional baseball last year. He threw 216 innings last year because he had multiple stops, and then the Braves just let him fucking go. They let him go. So when you get him with the distance and the great team and a great environment, like I thought 50-1 to lead the league in wins was a absolute smash. The thing I'm looking for again today is in the prop market. Man, the books are just calling my name. They're fucking tempting me to come out of retirement right now. Spencer Schwellenbach, 4.5 strikeouts is plus 105. Like, man, this guy's like a 5K guy getting off the bus. I know the Padres' disciplinary traits are always very good. That has he carried over into this year as well. But man, if you're going to give me even money, I like the Braves run line that you mentioned, full game run line. But I also like Squell to get to 5 strikeouts. I'm like, a friend of mine said this morning, man, if they had 9 Luis Arias in, I might go for 5 strikeouts. He's got filth because he gets the secondaries over early in the count for strikes, and he puts you in such a fucking bad situation. The thing is, the Padres don't really like to offer it that. They like to let you miss and then take advantage. They take a lot of walks for a team. So again, it's the price, man. It would have been easy for me to feed at minus 150. It's not like he's striking out 10 batters, but I do think he gets the 5 because I think you might get 7 innings.
Schvelli over 4.5. I love that. He said Schwellenbach to lead the MLB in wins.
Yeah,
it was 50-1. Those are all down now, unfortunately.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean the Braves are going to win a lot of games.
Yeah. The calculus was all there. I think it's like Toast said, man. These young guys kind of come up, and listen, us fucking degenerates, we're all over it. All of our eyes were like, day, dessert at Thanksgiving. I was like, but a lot of people haven't seen it. I don't think it's far from when he starts creeping up in those Cy Young odds. You're gonna have people go, who the hell is this guy? Yeah.
Speaking of winning a lot of games, let's talk about the best team in the NL. Look, Soto flexed his muscles a little bit yesterday. You got a glimpse of Grimace. There's not a doubt in my mind that this team is not going to win. There's not a doubt in my mind that this team is going to be over 110 wins this year.
Wow.
How many?
Wow.
We have the debut of the Can Man. No stranger to pitching in this ballpark. For those of you who don't know who the Can Man is, Griffin Canning is the type of guy, you look at his numbers, they scare you a little bit, but you watch him play, you become a believer. I have cashed some bets on the Can Man when in his days in an Angels uniform. This is his debut with the Mets. This is the type of team that has energy, rejuvenates careers. Look at Sean Manaea. Can Man's going to pitch well this year. He's going to be the surprise, a nice SP3 for the Mets. No one's going to see it coming. I kind of like Houston. I think everyone's down on Houston. I think people are really exaggerating the outfield situation. Oh my God, Toast talking about the Astros outfield. You would think that there's
I was there with him. We were both.
He's done it like
me and him were simpatico. You know?
Yeah, he's gone on like 3 or 4 Astros outfield rants, and you would think there's a forest fire. This outfield.
There it is.
Yeah, I feel the same
Somebody
way.
called Smokey. Somebody didn't pour water on the fire. Okay.
Said somebody call Smokey. All right, Mets up, Toast. Are you with me?
I said Astros last night, and I think I'm gonna flip flop. To be honest, and take the Mets. I don't know. The bullpen situation was kind of throwing me off last night, but I at the same time, all these guys had the night off before, and the Mets have seen everybody in the Houston bullpen as well. I just don't know what to expect from Arrighetti. I have a feeling that he's going to continue to pitch well, but I also think that this Mets lineup is a lot better than a lot of the lineups that he had to face. I mean, look at the last 7 starts he made last season. LA, Oakland, Cincinnati, Baltimore, Chicago White Sox, the Padres, Cincinnati. I think I might have already said them, but regardless, I mean, that's not the end all be all. I'm just trying to give you guys a little bit of context considering the fact that there's no other real data to go off of. But I do think that Man can pitch well here. I'm just not sold. I'm just not sure if I'm sold on this Astros lineup. I'm not a big Yanier Diaz guy. I think Jeremy Pena has
whoa, Diaz is cool.
He's all right, but he strikes out a lot, and I don't really like him it's just not a guy that I love. Not to mention Jeremy Pena had his time in the sun, but he hasn't really been great lately. Cam Smith, Rogers, Jake Myers. I mean, the bottom half of that lineup is really bad. So if you're really not getting production from Altuve, Alvarez, and/or Christian Walker, it's just really hard to back this team. And then you have this Mets team that has absolutely, I mean, guys up and down this lineup that can really bang. I mean, yes, Terrence, Beatty, Taylor isn't great at the bottom end, but that top end is, exponentially better than the top half of this Houston lineup. So, and I actually think that Brett Beatty might start to play a little bit better now that he's got a little spot. So, I lean Houston. I lean the Mets here. I don't know if I actually play it. I'm probably going to end up playing it just because it's plus money. And if I'm going to be pissed off if I let the Mets go at plus money this early. So you can put Mets or pass. It's 50-50 if I actually bet it.
John, you in New York or New Jersey? I know you're around here.
Brooklyn, New York, born and raised.
Okay, I'm in Monmouth County, New Jersey. So you're a Yankees fan. I'm assuming
fan.
You're surrounded by plenty of Mets fans over there, right?
I am surrounded by plenty of Mets fans.
Yeah.
I've never been the type that hates them or want to see them lose. I don't find myself really rooting for them, especially with the Soto thing. That just kills me. George is fucking spinning in his grave. It's so embarrassing. It's so embarrassing.
No, I hate the Phillies and the Braves. I don't hate the Yankees. I'm a Mets fan, by the way.
That's how you're supposed. You're a good fan. Then that's what you're supposed. That's what you're supposed to do. You shouldn't really hate the Yankees, especially now that you're well run. Right now that you're well run, teams that are well run shouldn't give a shit one way or the other. That's the thing that pisses me off. I was ranting about the Yankees here the other day. I don't think they're well run anymore. So now it's not that I hate the Mets, but I'm like, guys, not only is Soto young and generational, he crushed in the fucking playoffs. George would have literally made him a partial owner of the team to keep him here. He would have pre-built him the statue. He would have told him you could announce games, you could do the recruiting in the DR, whatever. But anything you fucking wanted, big, booby cheerleaders, would you name it, whatever you want, you fucking got. And he walked. I know they were saying Cohen would have given anything. I don't know if Steinbrenner would have allowed it. I think they would have tried to figure it out. Anyway. I love that you guys use nicknames also because I'm known for that. I grew up as a Chris Berman.
You're in the right place, buddy.
Yeah. Hold on. I got the double here because for me, I always called them the Wigan Lion, Griffin Canning, and Spencer Arrighetti and Meatballs. Now, the bet that I liked, unfortunately, again, man, because I didn't push my bets this morning. I didn't get them out. This got listed as F5 U5 at first. And we had some people smash that thing down. It's now at 4.5. That's where I was. So Canning, again, the Mets are showing that they're going to be one of those teams that maximize pitching output. Canning looks fantastic. What we saw in spring was the best version of him. He looked absolutely ridiculous. One of the other teams that do that is Houston. I hate weighing second half this. But when you have a team like Houston that shows you, give us a guy, let us see what he's got, because we know they're very deep in the analytical streets. Arrigetti's second half was brilliant. He had a 29% strikeout rate down the stretch in the second half last year while he cut down the walks. He's one of the better young pitchers. And he's also one of the reasons that they let Kikuchi walk, because they love Brown and they love Arrighetti. As much as I do like the Mets offense, it's an order of magnitude better than Houston. I said that with you guys the other day. One of the things that we realize when the dust settles, the Houston offense sucks. It's not good. Jordan Alvarez is one of the best hitters on the fucking planet while he's on two knees, which is probably not going to be long. I wouldn't go over 550 plate appearances for him. There are going to be times if he misses a week or something, all of a sudden people are going to go, whoa, totally exposed. Houston's not any good. I do like the Met play. Toska, ready to yell at me. I think I like the run line. It's only 20 cents, though, right? I got 20 cents difference to get the run through 5. At 20 cents, I'll take it on the road. So my play would be Mets F5 run line.
Mets first 5 plus the half run. And what'd you say the price was on that?
Oh, hold on. I just had.
I'm going to guess minus
I got minus 120.
Minus 120.
Yeah, for a plus 100 even. I have just on the book I was looking at.
All right, minus 120 for the Mets first 5 plus a half run. I mean,
yeah.
I look what you said on the Mets are going to maximize their starting pitching output. That's exactly what they did last year, and I think I obviously am doing a bit when I talk about the Mets. I don't think they're going to win 140 games. I'm doing a bit, but I don't think it's crazy that Griffin Canning has a good season. We just saw it with Severino. We just saw it with Manaya. I mean, guys come here and they have a little bit of a career rejuvenation, and that's what we're going to see from the can, man.
What's the flip side of this? The Angels are terrible at developing pitchers. They're terrible, and that's something that we need to be thinking about because, it's not like a guy pitches without any help. The Astros have all the TrackMan machines and fucking legitimate laboratories going on. And when you have pitchers that are into that stuff, the same for the Mets now. Very heavy in the R&D department. Very, very, very heavy. They spared no expense. The Angels don't do that, right? You get the cardboard box and, they listen for it. An old man goes, oh, yeah, did you hear the pop off the glove? That's how they do it. They're still doing the old version of this shit. So, you have to think about that. When a pitcher leaves the Angels, you shouldn't be like, well, he was this. He was this. What could he be?
John, why don't you segue right into Cubs D-backs?
Man, if there's one offense I'm not trying to challenge right now, it's the Diamondbacks. Coming into the season, we know they led the league in runs last year, and the fantasy industry was a little bit worried about it. I love my boy Shota. I really do, but I'm not throwing anybody, especially lefties, at Arizona, who I thought was funny. They were trolling us with the Brandon Pfaadt thing. I tend to really like Brandon Pfaadt, by the way. But they were talking about he might not make the rotation. I'm like, for who? How is this guy? Then they turned around and they just paid him, right? But again, you have to. The lesson is these fucking organizations are so full of shit.
Just talk.
They really
it's just
are.
talk. Yeah.
But see, you guys are sharp and you guys get it. A lot of people hear that and go, Brandon, you got to sell. Maybe there's something wrong. He's not any good. They don't believe in him. And I was like, no, it's probably the opposite. And that turned out to be the case. I got personal bias in the way here. I do. Because the model is saying to bet on the Diamondbacks. I have a Diamondback F5 win. I have a Diamondback F5 first 5 team total. I have a pure outright win for them at value given the model output. But man, I hate going up against Shota. I love Shota, but if I want to pay, I really want to pass. But it would have to be the first 5 for Arizona if I had to take a bet.
Yeah, I agree. I said last night that I like the Snakes, but I'm a little worried that and maybe this isn't something that should realistically concern me, but I'd be lying if I said it doesn't. I'm a little worried that we talked about this game last night. It was sitting at the same price, minus 122. And everybody voted Arizona. And here we are again, same price. What is this? Toast 12 hours later, Still sitting at the same price. Everybody's clicking Arizona. It's clearly the heavy public side. And again, I don't know if that should realistically alter my judgment on anything, but it's definitely not what I like to see. You know that they're taking a lot of action on that side, which means there's got to be some sharp action coming in on the Cubs side, keeping this market balanced, you would think. I guess I'll put up the Diamondbacks, but I don't think I'm going to bet it. I thought I was going to, and I don't think I'm going to.
See, and I said Diamondbacks last night, and I kind of feel a switch in my head personally. So, I actually think I might bet the Cubs here today. You took the words out of my mouth. We talked about this last night. Thought it'd be a good spot for Arizona. Here we wake up in the day, and it's still the same price. Actually, you can probably get a little bit better price on Arizona now. Right. And especially knowing that with Arizona can actually hit lefties. I mean, Marte really good against left-handed pitching. Gurriel, Grichuk. I mean, all these guys, can hit left-handed pitching. And you have a Cubs team that overall isn't really great, especially against right-handed pitching. But they did add Kyle Tucker. I think that's huge. Ian Happ looks really good to start the year, so he's another guy that can kill right-handed pitching. I do think that having guys like Pete Crow Armstrong and whatnot on the field just gives them a little bit of an edge, especially with the speed and whatnot. So I actually think that I'm going to probably take a stab with the Cubs here today. I mean, I don't see any reason not to. They're going to have their full bullpen. Only Brad Keller pitched yesterday, so they're going to have a full bullpen. Arizona's going to have everybody as well. I mean, especially Puck and Martinez, their main guys, but they have
that bullpen is really good.
Yeah. So I price-wise and gut-wise, I actually think I'm going to bet the Cubs here today. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe I regret it, but I think the Cubs is the move.
Is it the offense that's bothering you, Sauce? I get there are people that are not saying, "Oh, I'm weighing this small sample," but it's we want to see the team see the ball well. We want to maybe it's the batter's eye, maybe it's timing, maybe it's the travel from Japan. Right now, the Cubs look kind of listless on offense.
Yeah,
and I just kind of
going to try to keep up. I mean, I look, I get it. You like Imanaga, whatever. I'm indifferent about him, but runs get scored in that ballpark, and the Cubs are going to keep up. It'd be like trying to take a slow-ass NBA team against the Pacers. Like, if they can't score, they're not going to keep up. It doesn't matter. I think maybe Imanaga is able to hold them to a few runs, but the Cubs can't score, man. Yeah, I'm good on this game. I said I like the Tigers last night. Glad I didn't bet it.
Magic!
Yeah, Toast got his -1.5 on a walk-off 3-run home run in
extras. My God. You know what? We're friends, but fuck you, man.
Hey, I've been getting fucked a lot lately, so you know what? That one felt real good, Johnny. Thank you for that.
I was kicking myself over that 5. That's what it is, just me being bitter because I love that Flaherty at 5. We were talking about that. You know, it's a great spot. I think Flaherty really is being undersung. He's like a legitimate ace type of pitcher. You hate to face the Dodgers.
That case.
What?
Good for you, man. Good for you.
So you going back to the well here? Dodgers -1.5.
It's the only way I would look at it. Yeah, I the only issue is that Reese Olson's been different. I do want to see a lineup. For the Dodgers, especially after last night. I would, with guys like Mookie and Freddie, clearly those guys usually play every day, but they've both been dealing with some illnesses and some beat up bodies. So I just want to make sure that both those guys play, or just want to see what the Dodgers lineup looks like. I also kind of want to see what Roki looks like in his first start in Dodger Stadium. I know that he kind of got some of the dust off of him playing in Tokyo, but he only pitched 3 innings. And if he only pitches 3 innings here today, or a little bit more than that, then you're looking at a Dodgers bullpen who, I told you guys, Tanner Scott's not a closer. He's went back-to-back days. Alex Vesia's went back-to-back days. Kirby Yates threw 13
Tanner Scott
yesterday.
can close games. What are you talking
Tanner
about?
Scott is not a closer. You can see it in Miami. He has struggles. I've been saying this for a while now. People just think that I'm a hater. You can keep, I think, hating, but I'm just letting you guys know.
Toast is a Padres fan, and anything the never mind, just go on.
No, I told you guys that I didn't care about losing Tanner Scott because he's just a specialist. That's it. He gets lefties out. That's it. It is what it is. Good for him. I'm not worried about it. All right. Like, I'm not
Tanner
really
Scott
worried.
Is fine as a closer. You're crazy, dude.
Yo, I think that he's one of the most elite setup guys in Major League Baseball. He's an above average closer. That's how I feel.
Yeah, you don't sound like a fucking psycho at all. John, what do you think?
I'm surprised. I actually think Reese's Pieces is pretty good pitcher.
I was trying to get to that. I think I kind of want to bet Detroit in a way, but I don't know if I can actually do it.
He's a pretty good pitcher because, you know what? And he's the style of pitcher that can succeed against the Dodgers because you're not going to like blow them away, but he's really good. The command control is very good. He throws the power sinker right. He's got the lead fucking ball going. He had a 50.5% ground ball rate last year for 112 innings, 31 fly ball, single digit homer nine. I mean, he's really good in a vacuum. Again, the Dodgers could get to anybody.
Right.
The thing that you mentioned that's really interesting is the Sasaki workload. Now, I know even if you guys are not really big into betting props, I think there's a good lesson for the listenership in that you should use the book lines for clues because they have to put out a calculated line that obviously has to work on it. They're taking money on it. Sasaki does not even have an out prop. Now, generally, when books are trying to take that, the milquetoast pussy way out, they'll put up a 13.5. They'll put up a 14.5 and look to see how the market responds. They're not even up at all. That tells me they're under 13.5 outs projecting. They normally don't put 12.5 for a
right.
quote unquote starter. What they do have up though is 4.5 strikeouts at -120. Now again, even if you're not betting that, that's probably the bet that I like the most in this one.
Under?
If it's over 4.5 strikeouts, because I think he could get it in 2 innings. Sasaki's he's filthy with that.
Truth.
But the worry, right, as I stutter and rumble and stumble through this, is that the books are worried he's getting hooked after 3. Now I don't know. I think it's going to be a pitch count thing. And, maybe depending, they'll let him go 4 or something either way. I mean, even through 3 innings, I think he's getting the 5 Ks. But those are all red flags, but they're a green. What's the opposite of it? Is a red flag the opposite of checkered flag or a green flag? I don't know. I don't watch.
Green flags go, yellow flags caution, red flags stop.
So the opposite of red is green.
White flag is give up. I know that.
Yeah,
well, actually, in NASCAR, the white flag. No, in NASCAR, the white flag is final lap. All right, never mind.
I have no idea either. For the record, Sasaki threw just 57 pitches in the Japanese game. So, I don't know. All this is actually leading me more towards that Tigers F5, to be honest, because I don't know what you're getting after. Sasaki.
Well, that's why I said I was kind of leading towards the Tigers. Now that I know that Scott's went back-to-back days, Vesia's went back-to-back days.
Why is the total all the way down at 8 then? Why not just take an over?
I didn't know it was 8 flat.
It's 7.5 on some.
Wow.
You can get 7.5 on easy.
Well, if we're only getting 3 innings out of this pitcher, the Dodgers bullpen isn't in great shape. What am I missing here? Why would it stay under?
I'm modeled to 8. I'm modeled a smidge under 8, but similar to what we talked about the first time we go. If you both get the 4, there's your 9th run. Hey man, 7 over 7.5. You could sell me on.
I'm putting over. Yeah,
I think Toast got me with the F5 Tigers. Even though I know I was just pushing the strikeout one, as I talked through the workload, I didn't realize he only threw 57 pitches, man.
That's why I was going to say, this one's not an easy game. You can kind of go in a couple of different directions and feel pretty confident, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It might fail, so who knows?
All right, let's head on over to the last MLB.
My thing is, really quickly, with Tigers. The Tigers, I know that they've lost but I feel like they've looked really good. And it's sooner or later, I mean, especially now you're getting them at like a close to a plus 200 price or whatever the number is. I just think there's a little bit of value there, personally. Is Spencer Torkelson back? I don't know. I just want to say that.
I think so. You know what? I'll tell you what. At the cost, meaning either whether it's betting prices or like fantasy cheap waiver prices, listen, you could sell me on that kind of pedigree, kind of fun. He's what at this point? He's a post hype sleeper. Yo, man, somebody thought he was going to be great at one point.
I think a lot of people thought he was great, and the fact that he took 2 walks and then hit a home run that first night, I was like, oh no, he might actually be back. And
yeah, I do like Torque. I do like Torque a lot. I don't know if I like anybody against Sasaki, but I'll take my chance with Torque.
Of course,
that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. Last game, Athletics on the road in Seattle. Toast is caught between a rock and a hard place. On one side, he has the Athletics, who he thinks will be a super sharp, sneaky good team. And on the other side, he has Bryce Miller, who he thinks is the greatest pitcher ever since Nolan Ryan.
I mean, yeah, he's getting up there sooner or later. He'll get there.
So who do you bet?
John, what are your thoughts on Mr. Bryce Miller in this game? Curiously,
I think Miller is filthy. Miller's really damn good. Again, one of those times you could rely on the geeky fantasy industry to point you at least like directionally in the right place. Miller was getting drafted with aces, and with good reason. He is just absolutely excellent, man. And he's a strike throwing machine. He wins in the zone. He knows how to maximize his arsenal against something Seattle's very good at. Right? Seattle is very good at. I don't mean to make it sound like he's a bad pitcher and they make him great. I think he's a really good pitcher and they make him elite because Seattle's excellent with sequencing and load management and stuff. So yeah, I really love Miller. I'm worried about paying any kind of juice for him because I think Beto is good.
Yeah, I wouldn't play minus 150. No.
Yeah, it's a little. I saw minus 170. Maybe did it drop to 150? Yeah, it has. It's moved down to 155. Maybe if it kept going, if you get to minus 140, you could count me in on the Mariners. But right now, it's a little too rich for me. And I'd worry about a cover because I think the offense sucks.
Oh yeah, there's no chance. I wouldn't lay minus 1.5 with the Mariners with your money.
They're not a cover team, right? They're not a cover team.
No, definitely not minus 1.5. But
not a chance in hell. Not a chance in hell.
Athletics bullpen. You guys were talking about this the other day. The Athletics offense is formidable, and the bullpen is actually good. And
they didn't use anybody in that bullpen yesterday either.
The Mariners suck, man. They should be so embarrassed. I was saying this with Pittsburgh having Skeens and Bubba Thompson and not surrounding them with an offense. Seattle should be fucking ashamed of themselves. That you have Dylan Moore penciled in as an everyday hitter on a team that, they're a top 3 rotation, right? Top 3 starting rotation. Bad. It's a shame. They need to do something there because this offense, it ain't that. That ain't it. That ain't it. And I know it's a small set, but they already look awful. And I think it's going to be more of the same, right? Last year, I don't know if you guys pay attention to the strikeout stuff at all. They were the worst strikeout team, just wire to wire. Just wire to wire. If you wanted strikeout props or if you bet like the daily strikeout leader, you were getting we cashed a couple times last year on like 85 to 1, 95 to 1 pitchers because they're guys that don't strike anybody out, but they struck out fucking 10 Mariners.
Yeah, you could strike at the Mariners. I could record a couple against the Mariners.
Yeah, you would. So that's the problem. I like the M's to win, and it's not anything to say bad about Miller. It's the roster construction, and I do have to agree with Toast again, man. Maybe we were best friends. We could go do karate in the basement after this.
Hell yeah! I'm a yellow belt.
That the A's, I think, are going to be a sharp pick at times.
Not today.
No, Miller. I think Miller shoves. I just think Miller shoves.
So do I. I wanted to play the A's team total first 5 team total under 1.5, but I just.
All right, real quick, me and Toast will talk about the Elite 8 games. But John, want to tell everyone where they can find your stuff?
Yes, hopefully here as often as possible, man. Guys,
yeah.
We are so simpatico, dude. Seriously, I love that we disagree. You guys at rational counters with jokes. You take your work very seriously and not yourself overly seriously. And I think to people that listen to you guys, you're in the right place because that's how you get there. Baseball takes a shit ton of work. My work, again, follow me on Twitter at John Lageza, LAGHEZZA, and again, I'm very much the same. I work so hard at this. If you're not going to have fun, it's totally unsustainable. It is totally unsustainable to not enjoy this line of work. Because there's also going to be ups and downs, right? There's going to be losing that happens, and it's just part of it, right? So you need people that understand how to handle just the marathon ahead. So, guys, I really appreciate you guys having me on. I'm having the fucking time of my life. Yeah, check me out on Twitter, and I've got a Substack, and I was saw some of the behind-the-scenes stuff. It's pretty wild, man. I tried to build because I was a pro bettor. I was betting professionally when I was an electrician in New York, and I got hurt. And I needed money, you know what I mean? It's expensive to fucking live here and have a family and stuff. So I built this little kind of war room, and it was built to be a one-stop shop because I didn't want 49 Chrome tabs open where I'm constantly flipping back and forth. So I built this war room, and then once I moved into creation, I'm sharing it with people, and it's become somewhat of a hit. So it's everything you could fucking ask for. Gee, so just go scroll the Twitter timeline and see what
I checked it out. There's a lot of cool tabs in there. And I mean, there was a opening day a few hours into the afternoon, there was a couple people like commenting like, "Oh, like I'm feeling crushed," and it's like, "Oh, dude, just quit now." Like,
Yeah,
if a losing afternoon like has you like this, just chill. Maybe wait
It's
for the
not for
fall
you.
for
Yeah,
football.
not for
You're
you.
not gonna make it.
Yep.
You're
It's
gonna
not
have
for you.
losing months. Like,
And
this.
we just saw it the first day. I went 1-5 the first day with 4 walk-offs. I went 4-1 yesterday, and I got a walk-off in my way. It's
Yeah,
just, you guys
dude,
gotta,
it's
gotta wait for
it's
it.
gonna be
Right, the door swings
crazy.
both ways. Agreed. I think to that, find what you like to play, because there's so many different markets,
Right.
and stick with that. You don't have to do everything every day. I've got people that just use my implied team totals and do the daily special stuff. We had Baltimore opening day plus 15-1. Hi-oh. We had the Rays yesterday, and they fucking suck balls. It's gonna happen. But that's a way to kind of you could play the general market. I usually recommend people take 2 stamps. Again, if it's 15-1, you don't need to hit a sniper style, 1 shot, 1 kill.
Right.
I'll tell people, take the 2 or 3 highest implied team totals, find a responsible amount to bet, split it up, and then it becomes like a golf ticket where you're kind of you're looking for like an outright win. You're looking for an overall, and you don't have to get too far in the weeds, and it's a lot of fun to root for. And that's a way I've had novice bettors say, "Oh, this is kind of cool. I have a way that I could play every day without getting killed, and it's stuff worth rooting for without having to grind your cock on straight bets." It's not for everybody, right? That's just not for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. John, I'll get you on next week. I'll shoot you a message tomorrow or on Monday.
Yo, appreciate you guys, man. Everyone have a great weekend, yo.
Yep.
Yeah,
enjoy
have a
your
good weekend, brother.
Toast. We'll just rip through these quick because we already talked about the games last night with Trevor. But I know as you heard me say last night, I haven't bet either. I think I'm gonna lay it with both games, Florida -7 and Duke -7, and I believe you were with me on Florida in this one, right?
Yeah, I'm with you guys on Florida, and there's no question about that. I will bet this. Like I said last night, I'm just in a position where Texas Tech has got here and they've won the games, but they've also played Arkansas, Drake, and UNC Wilmington. So the step up in class and step up in guard play that they're going to be seeing with Florida is absolutely significant. And keep in mind, Florida's also played 2 pretty decent teams in UConn and Maryland. Again, you can say what you want about UConn and what they did throughout the year, but they're one of the best coach teams in the country, as much as I like to talk shit about Hurley. They're really, especially a hard out in the NCAA tournament. So beating them and then beating Maryland convincingly, I just have a hard time that they're going to have a bad game here tonight. So, it's Florida a pass for me.
John, you a March Madness guy?
No, I used to be. Every time I have a child, it costs me a sport. Like there was one point where I watched every Nick and Ranger game, and I keep having freaking kids, and it's costing me. Though I do want to ask your take, because you guys are sharp with this stuff. And it's funny, I didn't get murdered. I didn't really do great, but I didn't get murdered because the piece of advice I got coming into the tournament was that the portal was allowing talent to kind of cream to the rise to the top. So I know a lot of people that were saying don't expect these Cinderella runs. Now again, one tournament does not not a hypothesis make. But I was wondering if you agreed with that. It looks like
I can't really speak for basketball. I'm more of a college football guy, and one thing the portal did for college football that obviously there's a lot of negatives, and the negatives get talked about all the time. And I agree with a lot of the negatives. I'm just going to provide a counterpoint on the other side. By no means am I pro transfer portal or anything. I'm just saying something I like for college football is if you rewind 20 years ago, the best quarterback in college football was the quarterback for Penn State, let's say. The 18th best quarterback in college football was Penn State's backup. Like now, for the 134 teams, we pretty much have the 134 best quarterbacks playing because these highly touted recruits out of high school, instead of going to be a freshman backup at an Ohio State, they're like, I'll just go play in the MAC for a year, and then I'll transfer to Ohio State when it's my turn to start. So it kind of – so, yes, obviously some programs have significantly more money, and there's other programs that aren't going to be able to compete. That's a fact. But also, people want to play, and they now have the option where, like, I can go start here for a year and then come. So you have a lot of talent that wouldn't go to a Northern Illinois to be a running back, but now it's like I'll just go be the running back in Northern Illinois for a year, then I'll transfer to Auburn. It's also even. I'm just saying there's an argument to be made on the other side as well. I noticed that college football, I know every single quarterback when the season starts. That hasn't been the case in the past because these guys were backups. I didn't know who they were. But now I know every single quarterback because the starters were playing somewhere else last year instead of just a backup waiting their turn. I don't know. It's just a counter argument. That's all I'm saying. Let's move on to and
it's kind of killed,
that's specific to football though. I don't know basketball.
I was going to say, as far as basketball, it depends on how you look at it. I mean, you can look at it as that we're getting a lot of these really big name teams facing each other, but some of these games, I mean, last night was a lot better, but some of these games have just been essentially unwatchable. And so it's, for me, I'm not saying that you want to watch like VCU Duke in every Final Four and whatnot, but it's nice to watch those runs and to watch those teams go. And we just really haven't had that really this year, which just kind of sucks. So
funny you mentioned that. I used to feel that way about the tournament, that everyone loves the Cinderella win in the first round. Oh my God, she supposed to beat her. I get it. But then like the next matchup kind of sucks. So I like to see the marquee matchups because again, just now as more of a casual watcher, the quality of the games can be so poor sometimes that I just want, like you said, mentioned, I just want watchable basketball. I'd like to see, properly constructed offenses, some ball movement, maybe players that box out and like.
I think the basketball's been pretty cool. I mean, people. Just welcome to 2025. People are going to complain no matter. I mean, obviously, people, regardless of the product, people will complain. In the NFL, they complain about the penalties that they're letting the offense to play. They don't let the defense play. Then they don't throw the flags one game. They see a defensive game at 16-10. Everyone's complaining the game was boring. It's like
my props sold in the cash. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, they alter the rules to make it easier for the offense to score because you complained. And then you complain about the calls helping the offense. Meanwhile, if they stop making the calls, you will complain that the game's boring. It's like they're just going to complain no matter what. They complained a couple years ago because there was a million upsets in March Madness. Now they're complaining that there's not enough upsets. It's just welcome to the world. Anyway, Alabama Duke. I like Duke. Fuck Alabama. They can't make stops. Right, Toast? No, he's on Alabama. I know he is.
It would be Alabama or pass for me. I said coming into the tournament that wasn't really going to play on Alabama as much just because what we saw from them last year and their ability to shoot the three, I thought it was going to be really hard for them to replicate that. Not only have they replicated it, they've actually shot better. So I just have a hard time believing that they're just not going to be able to shoot well. They also, if there's one thing that Duke is really presents troubles with a lot of teams is their height and length. BYU's just like them. Obviously, BYU is not nearly as good as Duke, but as far as the height situation, I think that kind of plays here today because Alabama's going to shoot. It's just a matter of if they're making shots because Alabama has a big bench, they're experienced, and they can hit their threes, and that's everything that you can ask for in the NCAA tournament. So, do they have Cooper Flagg? No, but we'll see what happens. But I feel like this number is kind of high for me personally. Just because the Alabama's ability to shoot the three ball, and if they're in or if they're on, they should be in this game. So if they're not, Duke probably wins by 30. But I don't see that happening.
I told my mom I'd be there for lunch 4 minutes ago. So I'm on Orlando. I got a +1.5. I think they're going to close as short favorites. I got Pacers, Oklahoma City over 238. You could actually get a better number than that. Market moved against me, which is weird because I usually win those battles. Lakers, Memphis, I got the over, but that number's gone. I got it at 234 last night. So everyone, enjoy your day. John, thanks for joining. Bet responsibly. I'll be back later.